You hatch from an egg as a nymph, somewhere in the savannas of East Africa. Your body is soft and pale, and you crawl forward through the narrow tunnel, where workers are already moving past you in both directions. Thousands of your siblings hatch around you at the same time, all of them pushing through the cramped space toward the nursery chambers deeper inside the mound. A worker approaches and taps your head with its antenna, then nudges you forward with the others. You follow the line through a passage that gets tighter with every step, your soft body squeezing through gaps barely wider than your head. One of your siblings ahead gets stuck where the tunnel narrows, its legs wedged against the walls and unable to move. Workers reach it and begin pulling it apart piece by piece, dismantling its body to clear the passage. The rest of you keep moving. You reach a large chamber filled with pale fungus growing in thick ridges along the walls. Workers are already waiting, and one of them presses a ball of chewed wood pulp against your mouth. You eat it quickly, and the worker moves on to feed another nymph beside you. Around the edges of the chamber, soldiers stand with their heads blocking certain tunnels, their mandibles large enough to cut you in half. Then the wall cracks. A thin line splits the mud, and a single ant pushes through the gap, its antenna twitching as it enters. Soldiers rush toward it immediately, but the ant moves fast and stings one of them before retreating. More soldiers arrive, and one of them forces its oversized head into the crack, plugging the hole completely while workers behind it pack mud around its body. The soldier stays there, sealed into the wall, and the breach is closed. You keep eating. The walls are thick, and the tunnels are dark, but somewhere above ground, something is always trying to break through. You're 2 weeks old now, and your body has grown too tight for your skin. The outer layer splits along your back, and you crawl forward out of it, leaving the old shell behind on the tunnel floor. A worker inspects you after the molt, tapping your head and body with its antenna, then nudges you toward a different tunnel, where other workers are moving in a steady line. You join them, and the worker ahead of you picks up a tiny pellet of soil with its mandibles and starts walking. You do the same, gripping a piece of dirt and following the chemical trail that leads through the passages. The line moves in both directions, with workers carrying soil one way and food the other, and you make the trip over and over without stopping. After several trips, you reach a section where the tunnel has collapsed, trapping 2 workers under a pile of loose dirt. The line doesn't stop. Workers ahead of you simply climb over the debris and keep moving, so you do the same. The trapped workers stay buried, and no one digs them out. You keep following the trail until it leads you to an exit tunnel that slopes upward toward the surface. Workers ahead dump their soil outside and turn back, so when you reach the opening, you toss your pellet onto the growing mound and get your first look at the world above ground. The light is painful and too bright, so you turn around immediately and head back down into the tunnels. On the way back, the worker ahead of you suddenly stops with its antennae raised. The chemical trail has been disrupted, and when you move closer, you see why. A beetle larva has crawled across the path, breaking the scent line and leaving its own trail behind. Workers scatter in different directions, trying to find the original route. Then one of them picks up a secondary trail and the line reforms behind it. The trails always lead somewhere safe, but every path has to cross through danger first. You're 6 months old now, and you've been assigned to the fungus gardens where pale growth covers the chamber walls and thick ridges. You need to help maintain the colony's food supply, so you join dozens of other workers harvesting small pieces of wood that soldiers have brought in from outside. You chew the wood into a soft pulp and press it carefully onto the fungus, adding it to the existing comb so the fungus can break it down and make it digestible. After placing several pieces, you move to another section of the garden where round fungal nodules have grown from the comb. You bite one free and carry it through the tunnels toward the nursery chambers, where developing nymphs need to be fed. You make the trip multiple times, always following the same chemical trail back and forth between the garden and the nursery. Then you notice something wrong. One section of the fungus has turned green instead of white, and the contamination is spreading across the comb in a growing patch. Workers around you react immediately, pulling apart the infected area and tearing away pieces of the contaminated substrate. You join them, gripping chunks of the ruined fungus and carrying them toward the waste chambers deeper in the mound. The infected material gets dumped into a separate room, and workers begin sealing the entrance with mud and saliva, building a wall that will trap the contamination inside. A soldier moves into position at the sealed entrance and stays there with its body blocking the passage, making sure nothing gets out. While you work on clearing the last pieces, you notice some of the workers nearby have started changing. Their heads are growing thicker, and their bodies are turning darker, transforming slowly into soldiers that will replace the ones the colony has lost. You return to the healthy section of the garden and continue your work, harvesting and planting as the fungus keeps growing. The garden feeds thousands, but it only takes one spore to poison everything you've built. Skip forward a bit, and you're 1 year old now. You're working in a tunnel near the outer wall of the mound when the ground starts shaking above you. Then the wall breaks open, and a massive claw tears through the hardened mud, ripping away chunks of the structure and flooding the passage with blinding sunlight. You need to get away from the breach, so you turn and run deeper into the mound with dozens of other workers scattering in every direction around you. Another section of wall collapses behind you, and more light pours in as the predator tears through multiple chambers at once. Soldiers rush past you toward the damage, moving against the flow of retreating workers. And when they reach the breaches, they force their bodies into the gaps and hold position while workers begin packing mud around them to seal the openings. You follow an emergency chemical trail into a large chamber where thousands of workers have gathered and are staying still until the attack stops. The shaking continues for several minutes, then finally goes quiet. Workers begin moving immediately, so you join a repair crew heading back toward the damaged sections to assess what's left. When you reach the outer chambers, you see that entire sections of the mound are gone, exposing tunnels to the open air and leaving hundreds of dead workers scattered across the floor. But the Queen's chamber is still intact deeper inside, so the colony can survive. Workers swarm over the damaged areas with their mandibles carrying soil and building material, and you join them, making trip after trip to rebuild the walls as quickly as possible. Within a few hours, the largest breaches are sealed and the exposed tunnels are covered again. The mound is smaller than it was before and hundreds of workers are dead, but the structure is secure again and the colony keeps functioning. The mound can be rebuilt in days, but next time the claws might reach deeper. You're 2 years old now, and your body has started changing in ways it hasn't before. Your segments are swelling, and small bumps are growing on your back, pushing outward until they form into wing buds that get larger with each molt. Over the next few weeks, your wings develop fully, and your eyes grow bigger, making you look different from the workers around you. You're becoming an elate, a reproductive form that can leave the mound and start a new colony. Workers move you into a special chamber with hundreds of other elates, both male and female, and they seal most of the exits with mud walls, keeping you contained until conditions outside are right for swarming. You wait in the crowded space for days with your wings folded tight against your body, and then workers start breaking down the walls and opening the exits. It's time to leave. You follow the chemical signals toward an exit tunnel and crawl upward through the vertical shaft with dozens of other alates moving ahead of and behind you. When you reach the top, you come out onto the surface of the mound and see the world outside for the first time since you hatched. Your wings unfold and dry quickly in the air, and thousands of alates pour out of multiple exits across the mound, all of them preparing to fly at the same time. You launch yourself into the air with your wings beating hard, and you rise above the mound with the swarm spreading out in every direction. Then the birds arrive. Swifts drop through the cloud of termites with their mouths open, snapping up alates on every pass, and one dives toward you but misses and grabs another termite beside you instead. You keep flying, trying to gain height and distance, but your wings are weak, and many alates around you are falling back to the ground with torn or damaged wings. Most of your siblings won't survive the next 10 minutes, but if you do, you'll never return to this mound again. A few hours later, you're still in the air, but your wings are getting tired and flying is becoming harder with every beat. The swarm has spread out across a wide area, and you need to land soon before your wings give out completely. A dragonfly cuts through the air ahead of you and catches several alates in quick succession, so you turn away and start dropping toward the ground below. You hit the grass hard and your wings crumple from the impact, making them useless for any more flying. You need to get rid of them now because they'll only slow you down, so you twist your body and break them off at the base where they connect to your segments. They fall away and leave you standing on the ground as a wingless elate, ready to start the next phase of your life. Your body releases a chemical signal into the air, and within minutes, another elate lands nearby and also sheds its wings. You move toward each other and touch antennae briefly, and that's it. You're paired. Now you need to find a place to start digging, so you both begin searching the area for suitable ground. You try several spots, but most of them are wrong. One location under a log is too exposed to predators, and another near a rock is too dry for excavation. But then, you find a small gap in the soil beneath a fallen branch, and the ground here is soft enough to dig. You both start working immediately, using your mandibles to scrape away dirt and create a small chamber below the surface. The digging is slow, because your jaws aren't built for heavy labor like a worker's, but after several hours you've carved out enough space for both of you. A lizard passes overhead at one point, and you both freeze until it moves on, then you continue digging until the chamber is complete. You both move inside and seal the entrance with soil, closing yourselves into the space. This tiny chamber is your entire world now. If the colony succeeds, you'll never leave it again. You're 5 years old now, and your body has changed completely from what it used to be. Your abdomen has swollen to an enormous size, making you unable to move from the royal chamber that workers have built around you. You're producing eggs constantly now, laying one every few seconds, and workers are always present to feed you and carry the eggs away to the nursery chambers where they'll hatch and develop. Your mate stays nearby in the chamber with you, still small enough to walk freely, and he fertilizes the eggs as you produce them. The colony has grown to tens of thousands of individuals, and workers have expanded the mound significantly over the years, adding new chambers and tunnels in every direction. Then one day, the ground starts shaking in a way that's different from the usual predator attacks. The vibrations are coming from below instead of above, and they're getting stronger. Your workers begin moving faster through the tunnels, and soldiers rush toward the lower chambers where the disturbance is coming from. Another termite colony has been digging nearby, and their tunnels have intersected with yours in the deeper levels. Fighting breaks out immediately at the junction point where soldiers from both colonies meet and clash with their mandibles locked together. Your soldiers are holding the line at first, but the invaders are larger and stronger, and they start pushing through the defensive positions. Workers try to seal the connecting passages with mud, but the enemy soldiers break through faster than the walls can be built. The fighting moves closer to your chamber, with invaders killing workers and soldiers as they advance through the tunnels. Your mate stays beside you as enemy soldiers reach the outer walls of the royal chamber, and your guards form a final line to protect you, but the invaders push through and break into the chamber where you're lying. You've built an empire of thousands, but empires always attract enemies that want to take what you have. You're 12 years old now, and your colony has grown to over 100,000 individuals, living in a mound that rises high above the surrounding ground. You continue laying eggs in your chamber the same way you have for years, and workers constantly move around you, feeding you and carrying away the eggs you produce. Then the enemy soldiers break through your final defensive line and pour into the royal chamber where you're lying. Your guards try to fight them off, but they're overwhelmed within seconds, and the invaders push past them toward you. Your mate moves beside you trying to defend the chamber, but an enemy soldier catches him with its mandibles and kills him before he can escape. The invaders reach you and begin attacking your swollen abdomen with their jaws, biting into the thin membrane and tearing it open. Fluids spill out across the chamber floor as they continue biting, and your body starts breaking apart under the assault. You can't move or defend yourself because your abdomen is too large and your legs can't support any weight, so you just lie there as they tear you apart piece by piece. More enemy soldiers come in and start destroying the eggs that workers have been tending nearby, crushing them and clearing the chamber of everything that belongs to your genetic line. Workers from your colony scatter through the tunnels, abandoning the royal chamber as the invaders take control of the space. Within a few hours, you're dead, and your mate is dead, and all of your eggs have been destroyed. The invading colony begins claiming the mound structure for themselves, moving their own workers into the tunnels and chambers that your colony built. They'll use the fungus gardens and the established pathways, and eventually they'll bring their own queen to replace you. The mound remains standing above ground just like it always has, but everything inside it now serves a different queen. Life as a termite might be rough, but there's another animal out there that has it way worse. Trust me, it's wild. Check out the video and see for yourself.